And welcome back to the Scout Hut for Scouting Under the Stars, a chance for you and your families to take part in our activity on Saturday the 19th of December. This week's all about cooking. Otter, our Beef Scout leader, will be showing you how to make some gingerbread men in the kitchen, but first of all I will be showing you how to light a fire and how to make some cinnamon twists. Now, I'm not the best cook in the world, but I'm going to do something really simple, something you can just buy in the supermarket and put together at home. This is something people do in Scandinavia with coffee around their campfires in the winter. Okay, so we have a green stick, which I've cleaned off the end of the knife, and I've wrapped around my Just Roll pastry and cinnamon mix, which I bought at my local co-op. Right, so we built the fire up here. We're using the same style as last week, which is the hunter's fire. And we built up the fire because I want to cook my twist on the embers, not on the flames. If I put the twist on the flames, it's just going to burn. But what I want to do is let this burn down to embers and then roast my cinnamon twist. If I could do this, anyone can do this. It's the most simple way of having something nice and sweet around the campfire. Can I begin? Right, so I've just spread the fire out a little bit, so I'm cooking on those white embers. A few inches away, not too close, I'm going to burn it. And I regularly turn it because you can see it's going brown already. I don't want to get too close. It really is very hot there. So I want to cook the inside, not just the outside. Embers are actually really hot. You might think the fire is out, but you've got embers there. It's certainly not out. It's red hot. I'm using a very long stick. I don't get too close to it. I'm going to start burning my fingers. Remember, when this comes off the fire, it's going to be really gooey, sweet, sugary, but again, really hot. Right, and there we have it, our rather sticky Just Roll cinnamon pastry twist, which I shall endeavour to eat if possible. Now, obviously you've got more time in your hands around your campfire on December the 19th to get this right, but anyway, let's have a go. Yum yum, isn't that good? And here we are in Otter's kitchen, and I'm here for a masterclass in gingerbread making.
Right. Spicy, lovely gingerbread. Now it's really simple to make, and not only is it simple, it's good fun when you get to the stage of decorating. We're going to start off, and I have pre-weighed out 275 grams of unsalted butter. Now mine is nice and soft because I've left it at room temperature. And in here I've got 340 grams of soft brown sugar. We are going to start off by popping our sugar into our big mixing bowl. So the next thing that you're going to need is 1 egg. What I'm going to do is crack my egg, whisk your egg until it's all mixed together. We're going to add our egg a little bit at a time to our mixture. The next thing you're going to need is to weigh out 340 grams of plain flour. So we've pre-prepared in these little pots some spices and some different things that we're going to add to our flour, sugar, butter and egg mixture. The first thing I'm going to add is half a teaspoon of salt. Next up, I'm going to put in a teaspoon of baking powder. One and a half teaspoons of ground cloves. So next up, and I absolutely love the smell of this, is nutmeg. Now nutmeg is a really hard seed And you can see this one I've grated to get the powder in my little pot. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon is going to go in. Next up, we have got ground ginger. And the final thing we're going to put in is this 75 grams of crystallized ginger that I've roughly chopped. Doesn't matter if you haven't got that, you might want to add chopped apricots, or if you haven't got ginger, you haven't got apricots, it's really not going to change the recipe that much, so just leave that bit out. So, now we've got all our dried ingredients into our bowl. It will get to the stage where it becomes easier just to combine it all with your hands. Make sure your hands are nice and clean before you do this. So I've been kneading this for about 3 minutes, not very long, and you can see it's now come together into a really nice dough. You can get a large chopping board or a flat baking sheet. You want to get a piece of cling film and lay it carefully as you can. And next up, I'm going to pop my dough on top of the cling film. We're going to get another sheet and lay it on top to make a sandwich. Get your rolling pin and very carefully rolling our dough. We've got our hands on either end of our rolling pin and just applying gentle pressure. And you want to try and roll your dough so it stays on the cling film as much as possible until it's the thickness 3 millimeters. We've just brought it in from our garden, and as if by magic, it's totally hardened up and become quite firm. Now, before you start cutting out, you might just want to ask Mum and Dad for some baking sheets. And we've lined our baking sheets with just some greaseproof paper so that when our gingerbread cookies are on them and in the oven, they don't stick. So, your gingerbread, you could make them to have around the campfire, or you might want to make them to hang on the Christmas tree. Now, unfortunately, Skip and I haven't got any particularly great cutters. We have got one gingerbread. Now, don't be put off if you haven't got any cookie cutters at home. It's not a disaster, because what you can try and do is make your own. But let's start with our actual cookie cutter. So you will find that there is a sharpish kind of side and a side that's slightly more rounded, which is perfect for pressing down on. So make sure that you get the right side. And then it's really, really simple. All you do is place your cookie cutter in the right place and press down. Now, if you are making your own cookie cutter shapes, try and make the shape as simple as possible. As you'll notice from the cookie cutters we've got, they're not fiddly shapes. The reason for that is you might find if you make them too fiddly with too many pointy bits, when you come to put them on the baking tray, they might fall apart. And then very gently ease it onto the baking tray. And there we have it, our very first gingerbread man. So we have got our gingerbread men out of the oven. A few things to remember. Firstly, keep an eye on your gingerbread because they might cook quicker than 10 minutes and you don't want to burn them. So, Skip has got a white chocolate called Choco Writers. You can get lots of similar things in the supermarket, and the nice thing about this is it gives you a bit more of a control I'm going to use a piping bag. I filled it with icing sugar and a few drops of boiling water, which I mixed together in a bowl until it was the right consistency, and then put into my piping bag. You can take your time over this.
This isn't good.
And do whatever Christmassy things you would like to add to it.
As good as it gets.
That is really, really nice. They're crisp and spicy.
Yeah, I think the
Lovely.
ginger. Probably that, isn't it?
Delicious with a cup of coffee, and especially
Louis
with hot chocolate.
luxury hot chocolate.
Post us some pictures if you do make them. We'd love to see. We're pretty sure you can probably do a better job than we've done.
Hope you enjoyed that. Next is another challenge. It's all about stargazing and how to make some lanterns using tin cans and candles.